We got a question in for our American mamas. Dear mamas, doesn't it make you angry to see that when adults cheat, kids get hurt?
Well, let's ask our American mamas.
Mama, mama,
Mama told me not to come. She said, that ain't the way I roll.
And joining us now are our American mamas, Teri Netterville and Denise Arthur. I believe this question is referencing a football thing. In the state of Louisiana, one of the high school teams that's won 2 state championships and had 2 runners-up in the last 4 years just lost all of those titles because apparently the school was cheating.
Bring Bird their trophy.
Yes.
Yeah,
that affects us personally.
Yes, this particular year as well. I mean, and I have to say, it's one of those things like they were being investigated for a couple of years, so you would think that they would get things straight before it happened again. This year is something different, and it was sentimental because our boys talk about they were fighting through adversity, and they were also, there's a member of their team, Kellum Humphrey, whose mom passed away in the middle of their
the season had a whole new it had a whole new flavor.
For folks not in Shreveport, this is Bird High School in Shreveport.
Where Terry and I both have
our children.
She still has one that's finished there, but that's our place.
And they were playing against Catholic High School, which is down in South Louisiana. Catholic High School is the team that had all of their records wiped out. They won the championship, but they no longer get to claim it because of some infraction. And did we ever find out what the actual infraction was?
No, because they have a confidentiality clause apparently between members and then the LSHAA,
the state
which
regulation.
Is ridiculous.
Yeah. That
because,
should be
when
part
you
of the
go
punishment
to look
should
it
be.
Up, I know, but it's so crazy to me because look, this goes on across the country. It's affecting us right now, but listen. I love to watch sports, and so I have watched over time these coaches at these different schools and stuff. But there's been stink everywhere, Terry. They have these slush funds to bring these families in. They recruit these kids to come in, and it's unbelievable these adults, the links that they will go to
for high school
sports. It's incredible.
The message that they're sending to these kids is it's okay to cheat. As long as it means that you're going to win in the end. Yeah. Like you can be sneaky. But my point earlier about this particular season is they were playing for something even greater than themselves. They were playing for Kellum's mom who had passed away.
Yeah.
So that moment,
we can't get that back.
You cannot get that back. So that moment that Catholic High had over us, they had those boys celebrated. There was a big homecoming for them. They had the glory, the news station. They have the articles, everything. So you might give us back that trophy, but you took away that moment that our boys could celebrate this moment for Kellum's mom, for each other, for our school, all the news clippings that would have gone into all these scrapbooks.
No kidding.
All
gone. Our coach, who had been at our high school for over 30 years, it was his last season. And now to add even more hurt to it, we just lost a very dear friend, and his son was a senior playing that year.
His son was a quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean,
gone. It's gone.
Look
what you've done.
So it's one of those things where I go, great, Bird gets to have that championship trophy, but really what?
It'll just go in a cabinet.
It doesn't, all the meaning left when they cheated, and Catholic High took that from our boys. I don't care what state you live in. If you know that something's going on like this at your school, end it.
And trust
Do whatever
me,
you can.
There are people out there that know. And I'm not saying that this is everywhere, but look, there are a lot of boosters. Booster Club is a big deal. Because I was reading this story out of Valdosta, depending on what side of the track you grew up on, Georgia. They had a big stink with a coach there. And then he was in a recorded conversation, and he outed. But he outed Bear Bryant. He outed Saban and talked about how they've been doing this for 100 years. So they were going to do it on the high school level. And their booster club, this Nub Nelson, and they called him Nub because he only had one arm. And he called himself Nub. But the thing about it is he recorded that conversation. But the deal is this was so widespread. Their booster club at all times had like $250,000 in the bank. But they were setting up slush funds to bring in these kids. And the thing about it is your kid one of the kids that doesn't get to play because they brought some kid in from somewhere else?
Yeah.
And they're setting the families up in houses and they're making sure they get jobs and they're supplementing their incomes.
Yeah.
See that?
And
if
you don't
see
blame-
that and you don't speak up, you are as
Yes.
bad as the person that's
Right.
doing it.
And you don't really want to blame the kid that's coming in because
No,
they're
it's
wanting
not
to
his
better
fault.
their own life. They're thinking about maybe this will help them get a scholarship to play in college. So I don't blame the kids. I blame the adults who put these kids in these situations.
Yeah.
It's just
And it's every
wrong.
sport. It is
It
every
is.
sport.
It
Girl, it is
is.
basketball, baseball, football, volleyball, lacrosse, soccer, you name it.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even believe when I started looking, when I saw this question today, I thought to myself, this is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's but what amazes me is that it takes years and years for them to figure out if somebody was, and do we know what happened with Catholic High? I'm sure it was probably ineligible players. It's probably most likely what it was in the state of Louisiana because it goes on everywhere.
If you'd like to ask our American Mamas a question, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/American Ground Radio or facebook.com/American Mamas. Teri Netterville, Denise Arthur. Thank y'all.
Thank you.